Hello and welcome to another episode of the Do London Differently podcast. I'm your co-host, Emily Langston. Today's episode is a really special one. They're all special, definitely, but this one was particularly wonderful. So we had two brilliant guests. We had Stuart Goldsmith, who is a climate comedian. If, like me, you're a comedy fan, you've probably seen him on the circuit. He did Live at the Apollo back in February. He has lots of really great stuff on his YouTube and on his Instagram channels. The newsletter actually on his website is really great. You can sign up for it, and it talks a lot about climate and communication and comedy as a festival for that. So it's a really, really interesting read. And he'll be at the Edinburgh Festival next month as well. And we then also had Louise Gates, wonderful Louise Gates, who brought us to the Phoenix Garden. Now, neither Stu nor I think producer Michael Schilling had any idea that Phoenix Garden exists. And it is just this wonderful place for biodiversity in the centre of London. It's kind of tucked behind Shaftesbury Avenue and St Giles in the Fields, kind of behind the Google office, if you know where that is. I'm very curious to know whether any Googlers visit the Phoenix Garden in their lunch breaks or before or after work, perhaps. But you can kind of sense a different kind of pace of the podcast. We sort of move from the hubbub of Covent Garden and end up in what felt much quieter in the Phoenix Garden, surrounded by birds that you don't normally see in central London and all sorts of flora and fauna and all sorts of wonderful things. So I won't take up too much of your time. Just wanted to do this little intro because we were so excited about this podcast and our two guests. And I do want to do a shout out actually for my big sister, Josephine van Willigenberg. Van Willigenberg, because she married a Dutchman, and she lives in Utrecht, and she was over in London, and she sort of wandered into the garden at the end and sort of started frantically gesticulating to me about all the birds that I hadn't pointed out. And so we ended up diverting and having a bit of a bird deep dive, which was great fun. And if you know the Langston clan at all, you'll probably say that it was a very Langston thing that we all came together and we're looking at birds and bird spotting in the centre of London. My favourite bit was when Joe asked me if I had my binoculars, and I had not brought them with me to the centre of London, but that is a mistake and I should bring them with me next time. So do enjoy this podcast, and please, if you can, support the Phoenix Garden, www.thephoenixgarden.com, and you can find them on Instagram as well. They need donations, they need volunteers, they need publicity. All of these central London gardens are just disappearing at a rapid rate, but actually central London is where, and in the centre of cities is where we need these green spaces the most. So if you can find a way to support them, absolutely please do.
London has been given the first ever national park city status.
London, the world's first national park city.
Come and enjoy, because life's too short, really and truly.
And London, wow, what an amazing city.
So, greener,
Healthier.
And wilder.
So welcome to the Do London Differently podcast. We're here in Covent Garden. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
My name's Louise Gates from the Phoenix Garden in Covent Garden.
Wonderful, which is where we're going to be ending up at the end of this podcast. Stu, do you want to...
Sure. So my name's Stuart Goldsmith. I'm a comedian who talks almost entirely about the climate and personal sustainability these days. And I'm from the gutter, because the reason we're in Covent Garden is because I used to be a street performer here more than 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And I was wandering around it before we met, and it's changed so much, and yet so much of it is exactly as it was hundreds of years ago.
Do you think it's greener, in keeping with the theme of the
Good
podcast?
question. There are little bits of greenery. There's a box of sort of plants, it's a shrub or two outside the station. But it's definitely cleaner. I don't know that it's greener. Are you going to tell me now that statistics show
No.
it's 100 times greener?
Nothing.
It does certainly seem cleaner. It's a lot more organised and cleaner. But with that has come sort of the pruning of some of the more fun cultural bits that I loved.
Possibly, yeah. I think it's kind of interesting that we're here because a lot of the ranges are based all over London, but there's very few in central London because people generally can't afford to live here, on the whole. So we focused on a lot of ranger projects in neighbourhoods. So this was quite different. So I was quite excited that we could do Covent Garden. Maybe talk a bit about your backstory, how you got into climate comedy. Do you call yourself a climate comedian? I noticed you said there, comedian who does climate. So
Yes.
Do you call yourself a climate comedian?
It sort of depends on the context, really. There are a couple of, but yes, I suppose I do call myself a climate comedian. It's just that I'm also a comedian. So, yeah, so well, the backstory I was trying to condense into a sentence, but I've been a comic for 20 years. Before that, I was a street performer for 10 years, so I've never had a real job. I've never had a salary. And I've been, well, yeah, it has its ups and downs. I've also never had a pension, you know. I have been doing comedy for a long, long time. I think probably I was a street performer because I was a scared comedian that didn't dare to actually try it. And I did my first ever stand-up gig not far from here at the Blue Posts in Kingley Street. So it's just around the corner, really. I go up to the Edinburgh Festival every year as a street performer, and I'd spend all the money that I made on seeing comedy shows. And then eventually I went, oh, come on, mate. You're a comedian, just try one. So I tried one and I went, I found my thing. And I've done that for a long, long time. And then in the last sort of 4 years, really, the stuff that I wanted to talk about, we always talk about the problems in comedy, the problems are the material, and I just realised my biggest problem, the biggest non-domestic problem, was the climate crisis, and increasingly wanted to try and talk about it and try and apply my skill set to it. That was about 8 sentences, but I think it was still quite a short answer.
Well, we're going to wander around Covent Garden now. So I guess the context behind this podcast was we saw your Earthfest, which is a climate event, largely for kind of networking and businessy things, and you did some really good kind of crowd hustling to get people into the room. You said to people...
that was all. That was pure Covent Garden. I was like, okay, there's the opportunity for a gig here. I've got 25 minutes and no more, and I know there's more people in this event that want to see me than are currently sitting in the room. So I did some street performer magic, what we used to call at Covent Garden, pizzolics, which is a combination of pizzazz and another secret ingredient. And so I did a bit of that, and blow me down, it worked, and we had a really lovely show, didn't we? It was good.
Definitely did.
So I think doing the podcast has really opened my eyes to the enormous multiplicity of different ways to do comedy. I mean, comedy itself is, what does it mean to do stand-up or to make sketches or something? It's such an enormously broad church. All the comedians that I interviewed would I'd go, well, how do you do it? How do you write your jokes? And almost all of them would go, well, I don't really have a system. And then I'd probe a bit, and they'd unveil what I always thought of as like a safe crackers kit, you know, when someone has a little roll of tools. Yeah. And they'd go, well, obviously I do this, then that, then this. And so everyone would have their own unique system. And I suppose part of why I feel empowered to do something as difficult as try and make people laugh about something frightening and complex is because I feel like I've been just sneaking around stealing everyone's best creative ideas for years. Not their ideas for jokes, but how to have ideas for jokes and structures and how to apply yourself to it. So certainly in terms of climate communication, this is very much a self-appointed role of mine, but...
someone's got to do it.
Yeah, well, I do feel that there are loads of things I've discovered over the last few years to do with how we communicate better and how if I'm in a Friday night chicken in a basket comedy club type environment and I want to do a joke about a sort of pro-vegan joke or a joke that warns about ocean acidification or what have you, I first need to get them on board with the concept. I've got to do a certain amount of explaining in a very short and pithy amount of time in order that I can get the groundwork across that then I can build a joke on top of it. So it took me a long time. I would say the first sort of 9 months of trying, I kept falling into this trap of either scaring them or scolding them. Yeah. And both of those things are enormously demotivating and, crucially, not funny at all. So I don't want people to feel bad. I have to do this thing which all climate communicators do, which is sort of dance around some of the scarier statistics. And I've got to make a decision to myself, how much do I tell them? And in what way do I tell them? How do I phrase some of the scary stuff? Because you can't tell people not to be scared about the climate unless they're scared about the climate. So for a long time, I felt like I'd have to start and go, right, you should all be terrified. Yeah. And now that you're terrified, hey, I'm going to help you not be terrified. Yeah. So it's a weird kind of dance that you have to do to navigate that.
Yeah, it's definitely a delicate...
Thank you, it was a good point.
I've definitely seen comedians kind of trivialise things like, oh, you're using a paper straw, like, well done, or, oh, you've done your recycling, well done. And I get it's funny to trivialise it because it's comedy and we all love comedy, I love comedy. But like, then you risk kind of people being like, okay, what's the point? Obviously, you know, Bezos has just had his big wedding with, 90 private jets flying in, so... Sure. But that collective action is still really powerful and really important. So how can we kind of still encourage people to do that and make time to do that? Because it's still important, I think.
I think comedy reflects culture.
Yeah.
So if people are telling jokes about the fact that, like, oh, it seems pointless to have a paper straw when so-and-so's flying around in a private jet, that, you know, it might be an obvious joke to make, and you can make a clever joke or a stupid joke or a funny joke or a less funny joke about that thing.
Yeah.
But all you're really doing is reflecting how people feel about it.
Yeah.
So what I try and do is not to try and stay away from the kind of what I think of as like a Route 1 joke, where you sort of go, oh, this is exasperating. Like the simplest joke to make about the climate is, we're all doomed, oh God, and then use that as a platform. I don't see the point in doing that. I would rather reflect those aspects of culture on climate which are positive and hopeful and engaging, and tell people, yeah, we can do this. And, you know, we have to use everything. We have to use every skill set imaginable and every ability and every thought and every idea, and we have to use it all to try and do something really positive. Yeah. But I'm not, you know, Mark Maron's got a wonderful joke in, I think they were using it. There was an advert on for his Netflix special a while ago, and it's a bit of his, I'll butcher it if I try and repeat it, but he's basically saying, we did everything we could, come on, we reused our carrier bags, ... you know, and that's very funny, and it's simply reflecting culture and exasperation of, like, you know, we're not doing enough.
Yeah.
I would like to also include some takeaways about how people can do more, or at least how they can feel less doomed and despairing and more motivated.
Yes, definitely. And what sort of groups, so you kind of speak to maybe your fans who are already fans of you from your comedy, and you maybe speak to like businessy people,
sure.
And you know, like at Earth Fest, you were speaking to people who already were quite into climate. So what groups do you think are the most worthwhile focusing on to kind of shift towards climate action? Because I think a lot of people do care. I think, you know, there are stats around like 89% of people want more climate action. And a lot of us do sit here thinking, we want to do more. I want the government to do more. I want there to be more going on in my neighbourhood. So what group do you think we can shift? I think you've mentioned before the climate deniers, you don't bother with them,
I don't
right?
bother engaging with dismissives, because I think that's a waste of my time and energy to try and convince them. Yeah. Chances are they've been convinced by either vested interests or their own family or their political party or what have you. And I don't think my role, I certainly think comedy could apply itself to this, but I think the way that I do comedy is much more, it's a much better use of a Stuart Goldsmith to try and move everybody. What I do is I try and bump everyone one stage on. I've got a joke at the moment where I say, I'm just going to bump you one stage further. If you're complacent, I think you should be concerned. If you're concerned, I think you should be alarmed. If you're alarmed, I think you should take action. But there is a risk that if you're already taking action, I bump you all the way back around to complacent.
That's true.
Because we've all done that. You know, we felt really invigorated, and then we've seen someone glued to the road and we thought, they've got this, fine. Yeah. You know, so what I do is I try to engage and skip around and sort of play with those sorts of topics. What are the questions? What are the ambiguities? What are those moments? What is it when we think to ourselves, I'm definitely going to do something good this time, and then we make another mistake? Yeah. You know, so I think what I try to do is tell stories of action, and as a comic, I can tell stories of action even if I fail at the action. I can tell stories of attempted action, and those are still positive things. Maybe in some tiny way they help to shift culture. In terms of the audiences, absolutely anyone. You know, I'll perform to my crowd. I'll perform to, like, I build the material in Friday night comedy clubs in order that it's robust enough that then when I go to an Earth Fest or a, you know, sustainable business event or what have you, it'll really be cooking, because I've been running with lead weights and now I've taken them off and everyone's already on board. Yeah. That can work against me sometimes. Sometimes a lot of my stuff, because it's public facing, I'm skewering my own hypocrisy and I'm sort of saying, oh, aren't we all hypocrites? Yeah. Some audiences are a little bit prim and they go, no, we're not, we're all vegans, or, you know. But everyone's complicit in one way or another. Yeah. So, you know, there's always common ground to be found.
Definitely. But yeah, I think that was the really nice thing, like that kind of like authenticity, and accepting that we are all hypocrites. Like, you were going around at Earth Fest asking the audience.
Oh, for their climate confessions.
Yeah, their climate confessions.
Yes, I do that all the time. I love it. I want to undermine, I've probably said I want to undermine the purity test. I think I suffered from that for years. Yeah. The idea that, well, I flew to Portugal on holiday last week, so I can't say anything about the climate crisis. What if someone points the finger at me and looks back through my Instagram and says, wait a minute, you went to Arizona. How can you have an opinion? And of course, we're all flying all the time. We're all, or, you know, if we're not flying, we're using petrol or diesel cars, or we're using energy from a grid that is yet to decarbonise, you know. So there are so many things, like it plays into the hands of the fossil fuel companies if we all wait until we're perfectly free of all our carbon guilt before we say anything. So I think on that basis, I love to try and get people to sort of laugh at their grubby little, negative climate things, because I think if you don't laugh at them and you keep them secret, then it's like this awful middle class thing where we all go, oh, I'd never do that, and then we secretly do it in the background. Yeah. So I think if you can be up front and say, oh my God, I drove to a gig 2 nights ago in Abergavenny in my diesel car to talk about carbon, but I can talk about that on stage and say, listen, it's like China. Everyone says, oh, what's the point in doing anything when China builds a new coal-fired power station every day? But they're smashing it, exactly. They have to keep up with current demand, but they are genuinely going to decarbonise by 2050, I think, and they're on track to absolutely achieve that. So you've got to keep doing what you're doing. You've got to put food on the table. You've got to pay your rent. Yeah. But at the same time, you have to have a sort of a longer term, I'm going to have an electric vehicle when I'm satisfied the infrastructure's there, when I can afford it. And of course, as you know, the most sustainable thing to do is not to scrap your perfectly good working diesel vehicle, but you can do, I had a climate confession from someone just before that show that you saw, and they said after I was sort of taping some vox pops in the street, and their confession was, it was a lady who was a mechanical engineer, and she said she'd done the embedded carbon calculation on her van, on her petrol van, and she'd realised it's better to keep it and drive it into the ground, and then the next vehicle be an EV. Yeah. So you know what I mean? Like I think if you engage with it and if you dig a little bit further into it, loads of things like that crop up where you realise, oh, what I'm doing is completely understandable. Yeah. I can tap the tiller, I can steer it, I can say, oh, my next phone's going to be a phone with no slave minerals in it. Yeah. But there's no point throwing away what I've got now. I should buy good, ethical stuff and use it for as long as possible. Yeah. And also, I think people should give themselves a break if they're passionate about it. Yeah. Then you shouldn't berate yourself. If you're trying to be vegan but you keep messing up, try and be vegan 1 day a week. Yeah. I think there's so much room for change. I think, and to change, you've got to be kind to yourself as well as disciplined.
Definitely. Yeah, I think there's so many good takeaways. And also part of that is like the small actions that you can do in climate. Like often, I do a bit of community garden. We do everything within London National Park City, but that's not necessarily like I'm actively reducing my carbon emissions, but it's like Dr. Catherine Hayhoe, I think I mentioned this in our chat, talks about climate shadow. So instead of like your carbon footprinting, which is a really difficult thing to measure anyway, you have a climate shadow. So, if you're going somewhere to talk about climate, or if you're doing everyday actions, or if you're running a community garden in the centre of London, these are all things that contribute to your positive climate shadow. Do you have a climate confession, Louise, whilst we're on the topic? Do you have any climate confessions? So I guess my one is I'm about to go to Iceland for 10 days. So I am getting on a plane. The
example I give to people is my favourite one ever. There was a guy in a talk that I did, and I said, what's your climate confession? And he said during the winter in Britain, he puts his pyjamas in the tumble dryer before bed so that they're all nice and snuggly.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah. So, and my confession is I laughed at that at the time, and then I went home and tried it. It's brilliant.
OK, I don't have a tumble dryer. But if I had to have a confession, and we're talking about flying round the world, of course, I come from New Zealand, although I've been here like more than 40 years. But I go there not every year, but maybe every other year to visit family. Sure. And I don't feel guilty at all.
Yeah.
No. I should, but I don't.
Why do you think that you should?
Well, but I think it's one of the worst things that you can possibly do, isn't it?
It's tons and tons of CO2, yeah. So
apart from demolishing a building in the centre of London and rebuilding
it. Having kids is even worse. Oops. But and I've got kids. I speak as the owner-operator of 2 children. Yeah. But I'm really interested by that. You think you should be guilty, but you don't feel guilty. So what's saving you from the guilt? I don't think you should feel guilty. I don't think I think we should try and avoid that where we can. But if you've got family, you've got family. Like I think the fossil fuel producers should feel guilty, not you. But I'm interested in just that thing of I should feel guilty, but I don't.
Well, because I think it's the most it's probably the worst thing that I do. I mean, I'm like a lot of other people. I recycle ridiculously. I keep that manky battery for 6 months before I find a manky.
I've got such a huge bag of used inhaler cartridges because everyone's like, oh, you can give them in a Superdrug. You can't. I've tried. I'm just collecting them.
Well, it's like Ryman's. They do pens. So I collect pens from home and pens from work. And sometimes, if I'm in the garden, I find a pen. I put that in the.
And you take it to Rylands?
Yeah.
I didn't know they did that. I got loads of pens to get rid of. Amazing.
Little does batteries. And anyway, you find out about these things as you go. And I know a lot of other people that are like that. We recently did a trip to Regis Road Recycling. We hired a van. And people said, "Oh, can you take I've been collecting this thing."
Oh, yeah, great. Oh, like a community recycling drive. Yeah, I totally could do that with your street WhatsApp. Yeah. That's a great idea.
Well, we've got a WhatsApp group, yeah. Our garden volunteers are all in a WhatsApp group. So we had some of our own garden waste that people, inverted commas, donated, meaning it ended up in our garden mysteriously. And then we were left to do something with it. So we had a load of those items. You can't put it in the bin, and one doesn't dump one's rubbish on the street. So we hired a van, and we told our garden group, right, we're hiring this van for half a day. So somebody said, right, I've got I've got half-used paint pots. Somebody else said, right, I've got all this textiles and all sorts of other things. So we had a whole van full. And then we get there, and I didn't realise you have to book. You've got to book to get in, right? I said to the guy, there's absolutely no one here at the moment, and we've hired this van, so everybody... Anyway, no, so we have to park on the street. Then we get a fine for parking on the street. So that is a lesson learned. Yeah. But anyway, we managed to recycle all of these odds and ends that people had in their homes because they didn't want to just chuck them. Yeah. So I felt kind of right on about that.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good... You've got a strong case there for writing a petition to whoever gave you the ticket.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well,
But in New Zealand, they'd let you have that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in other countries that they do quite well, I think, that we could all learn from. Like many years ago, I mean, as I say, I've been here for 42 years. When I was a teenager, they were recycling cans, and you could still get money on your bottles, which is a great idea.
Still do that in Germany.
They're going to bring it back. DRS, the deposit return scheme's coming back, provided they can get Wales to get on board. Wales is already on board. They're actually doing it better, and they need to get Wales to do it worse so that it's all interoperable.
It's so great in Germany. It's called Fand. You just take your bottles back and then you get a receipt to spend in the supermarket. And they've always done it. It's so good. Nice. And it's so easy. And why wouldn't you? Anything that has like monetary advantages, I feel like is like a good angle as well. Because sometimes people feel like, oh, this is effort. But it's so great that so many people are holding on to things and not just throwing them away.
Because I can remember as a kid collecting bottles. Nobody would do that now. Yeah. Unless you get money for it. Exactly. And then everybody'd be doing it. I mean, at the moment, because I have to... I deal with a lot of waste in my role as managing a garden in central London, and yeah, I'm going to make a fortune when they bring back, you know.
Yes,
and,
sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you'll be tutting because no one will throw the trash there, and you'll be like, oh, where goes my nest egg?
Probably, exactly. Yeah, they need to do it on. Well, we'll start at glass and we'll work our way to cans and then plastic bottles, and then that'd be great.
Great. I'm very excited about the idea of a community recycling drive via your street's WhatsApp. And I think an even more efficient way of doing it is once a year, I'm just going to get a skip, put it outside my house, leave it empty with a sign saying, don't put anything in the skip. And then when everyone's filled the skip, I'll take it off and correctly recycle all the stuff. So, Louise, can we see the garden?
Yes, come on. Let's
go.
I feel like now we should all do a jump in the air and click your fingers and then we teleport there.
High fives all round.
Have you ever done any community gardening, Stu? Or do you have a garden?
No, there's a big allotment near us, but there's a big long waiting list for it. We've got our own little garden. I mean, I've done some seed bombing, but I didn't know whether it was legal or the right thing to do. I don't know whether seed bombing is like a useful thing or like one of those panacea kind of elastoplast on top of a wound kind of things.
I think it's a great idea.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I mean, the seeds may not grow. But if they do, it looks good and people don't dump stuff there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, like if you get the seeds, I think are like kind of meadowing seeds, like wildflowers, and that prevents trash.
Yeah, people see beautiful plant, you know, they look lovely, and people are less likely to once a place has been beautified, it is no longer a place where I feel I can dump my waste.
Okay. Yes. And does that apply to your garden? You feel like you don't get too much waste there, or?
I've done a bit of an observation, and when we have a group of volunteers in, you know, cutting back and sweeping the paths and making the place look good, we get less rubbish for a few days afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah. So and also sometimes we get corporate volunteers. That's every time we get a group of corporate volunteers, we have less rubbish for, well, I won't say a week, but
Yeah.
up to a week.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because it's like the broken windows theory. Once it looks tidy, people are less likely to litter.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
right.
people see other people making an effort, especially in this heat, whew,
Yeah.
and they go, oh, okay, some people don't take any notice whatsoever, but they're in the minority.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, grand. You were asking me earlier on whether Covent Garden's greener, and I suppose these restaurants along this street, which I can't remember the name of, but it's where the Africa Centre used to be before that got sadly closed down. And it's there are little kind of I can't remember what they're called. There's a special name for them. I learnt it in Paris, but these things where cafes creep out onto the street and set up a little area. And I honestly never knew until we were walking past just now whether these are real or plastic.
Both.
But I think they're real. They're both, are they?
Yeah.
Ah, really?
Those-
Can
the,
you tell?
The window display back there, plastic.
Okay, but these ones are real.
These ones are real.
This is a post-lockdown thing. Yeah. And of course, this means people can't park here, so it has a double positive.
It's a great idea. There's not enough outdoor spaces for people to congregate.
Yes.
So we're obliged to go to somebody's little shop or normally a chain because the others can't afford to maintain.
This is a particular bugbear of mine as a street performer. I'm hugely invested in public space and being able to perform and congregate there. And gradually, so much of the space that appears to be public gets kind of fenced and, ring fenced and sold off. And then you have people who are dressed as policemen but aren't the police, kind of like looking after the corporate interests.
And then-
There's one now. I feel like those are out a lot. They get wheeled out and then they stay here most days, do they? I feel like I walk past those a lot.
I think they go somewhere.
Although that's for the sake of branding, isn't it? That's Covent Garden Flower Market branding.
Yeah, that's a selfie backdrop.
Yeah, it's a selfie backdrop, isn't it? But then maybe that's a good way of getting more greenery in the street if you branded it as, hey, council, can we get some selfie backdrops in here?
It's true. Well, we've got.
There's a whole campaign waiting to be done on that. Selfie backdrop. Plants as selfie backdrops. Suddenly, young people are interested in plants.
Yeah, but once you start a selfie we have a selfie backdrop that they used to have in Covent Garden, which is this huge swing, wood, totally, absolutely incredible. It took 8 guys to get it out of the back of the van and in our gate. We'll see it when we get there. And that's a very good selfie backdrop because it's got the Phoenix Garden written on top of it. And you've got all this greenery behind.
Oh, is it up now? Can we get a selfie there? Oh, there we go. We've got some cover art.
So what inspired you to get involved with the garden, the Phoenix Garden here? Are you a resident of like central-ish?
I am. I live. I could, if there was a zip wire, I could probably get to my window. No, I couldn't, but you know what I mean. I walk to work. I've always walked to work because...
That is such a privilege. What a wonderful thing.
Yeah, well, it helps if you have to start at 8 o'clock in the morning, I find. But my first experience of community gardens was when you come over to a new part of town, say, and you don't know anybody.
Yeah.
How do you find people? Because you don't always knock on your neighbour's door. You don't always meet them sort of in the stairway. So I found a community garden, a different one, and went there, and it all spiralled from there, really. Because the people were friendly. I find that community gardens often attract people that might not have family in the area or the country. They might be on their own, they've got a small family, say, or their family has grown up.
Yeah.
And often they speak English as a second language, or they've worked here for years, but they come from other countries. Anyway, so they are our most regular volunteers and service users. We do all sorts of different things apart from gardening, apart from maintaining the space. We do workshops and well-being. It's all well-being based. The garden is good for your well-being. And if you want to help us to maintain it, thank you very much. It looks great and everybody enjoys it and everybody wishes they had a garden, but of course they don't.
Yeah.
Or it reminds them of the fact that they had one when they were a kid. It reminds them of their country where they used to live and their parents or grandparents grew a certain strange squash type thing that they want to grow in our garden.
Yeah. And there's something brilliant about working for the community as well. If you volunteer, it does wonders for your mental health.
Yes.
Because not only are you getting out of the house and doing actions and meeting people, but also that sense of contributing towards something that other people are going to get to enjoy.
Well, exactly.
It really makes people happy. You asked me earlier on about community gardens, and I mentioned allotments. I didn't mention the amazing community garden near us, which I won't name the name of because I'm quite near it and I don't want anyone to triangulate my position, but it's in South Bristol. And, oh, there's someone's Oyster cart. We can pretend to be 16. So it's an incredibly exciting and fun and warm and community-spirited thing. It's in a park next to a PlayStation. It's got a little coffee place. It's got they're always doing little fun activity sheets for the kids when they go round. And my children's school have regular visits to there during the week, and they get taught how to pot plants and so on and stuff like this. And yeah, it's really nice. It's a really, really nice place to be, especially as the parent of young children. Just to have a place that you can go that doesn't cost anything, that you can just relax and chill out, lots of shade and tree cover and what have you. So it's really nice.
It's funny because, I suppose community garden, people won't necessarily be like, I'm doing something for climate, because sometimes the word climate
is massively off-putting and tedious, isn't it? Climate's got an enormous branding problem. It feels like homework.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you say, I've been volunteering at my community garden and it's been wonderful. I've met so many neighbours. We go out in the evening, we water. Lots of people have a bit more time when they're retired, but people also come on the weekend. And yeah, but it is a climate action, but you just don't want to call it that. You don't want to put people off and be like, what a great thing you're doing for climate. So it's kind of I don't know, I wonder what other examples there are of those climate actions that we don't need to call climate actions, but we can still get people doing anyway. Like litter picking, when you were talking about the broken windows thing. I see so many kids getting involved in litter picking and...
Yes. We always try and have a little carrier bag with us so that if we're out and about on a walk and we see some trash there, we can feel positive and do a good thing and model some good behaviour.
Yeah, I do that with the dog poo bags. I'm like, one for the dog, one for the rubbish. Which way are we going? Over this way.
Mercer Street.
But do you find in your garden you talk about climate, or do you try and avoid it, or is it not really a topic maybe?
It is, at the moment, the topic seems to be, because we're in Covent Garden, central London, property prices are, honestly, going through the roof.
Yeah.
And the current discussion that's taking over is the fear of what happens if the garden is in danger from big business.
Yeah.
So we're worried about that at the moment. So climate change, maybe when we're out of danger, if we're on our doorstep, there's a development, a boutique hotel that we really don't need in the area. It's not doing, we don't need that many more tourists. Surely we just walk through them all. But that will cut 50% of the light out of the garden. And we're very worried about that.
Okay.
Especially after putting the amount of work that everybody has done, all of our volunteers, for 40 years. The garden's 41 years old. And you'll see it looks so mature, it's amazing. And that's because of all the work people have put in. And in a one decision to grant planning permission, that's going to be in danger, and we're all worried about that.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, the biodiversity will... Well, when you get to the garden, you'll see all the bees, butterflies, dragonflies, damselflies, all the different birds will be in danger.
We might have to
Camden.
pause a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, is it here?
Like a road sweeper, though. They do a great job.
I've walked up and down that street so many times. I never would have known.
There is a sign, but you can't see it from here.
Oh, really? There's a sign pointing to the community garden?
Yeah, from Shaftesbury Avenue, pointing to the community garden.
Now, I have walked past this hundreds of times.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever knew it was a community garden. I thought it was privately owned and connected to a block of flats. So I don't think I ever knew that I was allowed in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, here
This
we
is
go.
lush. Oh my goodness.
We've got a lovely notice board, as you can see, donated by some lovely business partners. Behind it It's a hand-painted sign.
I feel like that could have been moved slightly to one side. What a lovely sign. That's proper, isn't it? That's like a lovely, like the side of a canal.
We've got a shortage of space for these things. There's not many flat areas that we can put our signage. But this is it. So when you come in after St Giles Churchyard, turn right and come into the garden.
It's funny, it feels quieter, even though we've not walked that far off the road. There's a quietness to it. I guess, do plants absorb noise, maybe a little bit? Maybe? Is that a thing? I might have made that up.
I'm going to question the science on that one.
When the rubbish bin trucks are in the area, or the delivery trucks, it gets a bit noisy.
Okay.
But they're not here that often. So, yeah.
Lovely bit of wooden carved face action there. And an ornamental pear tree. Yes. Oh, you've got signs on the trees. I love that. You can see what's what.
The marigold decoration appeared.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
It just appeared. Things
Nice.
appear and things disappear. But that appeared.
So we'll have to be very descriptive with it, because obviously this is a podcast for those who aren't watching the video. So it's a lovely green oasis. It's a lot bigger. How big is the space?
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly. It's a long and thin. So somebody said to me...
Can we go through this way?
Yeah, let's go through this way.
We'll case the joint and see how big the whole thing is.
Nooks and crannies is what we've got.
There's so many little pathways you can just wander off.
There's some Jerusalem sage. I'm seeing a little
some of the sides,
penguin bench.
We've got little bits of pottery that people have made that they've kind of dotted around the garden.
And are you upcycling bricks here, it looks like?
Yep, this was all rubble that was in the garden and we've reused. We've still got a whole lot, but
That's
we've got...
some London thorns.
Yeah, don't mess
some
with
big,
don't mess
thick,
with those.
chunky
Yeah.
London thorns.
Oh, there's some lovely little plaques here, these sort of memory plaques.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, beautiful.
Oh, gorgeous. Lost in
Yeah,
music.
and people come here in the shade and think about loved ones. I mean, there's George Michael has been remembered here, as has oh God, his name is escaping me now. David Cassidy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a big fan base.
Wow.
Oh, is it that one, George? We won't let you down. We will not give you up. Oh, that's
Claren
very
Sondrine, freedom. I cannot believe I just... Oh, Red Admiral! I can't believe the last time I saw a Red Admiral. I was just going to say, I can't believe the amount of times I've walked past this and just blithely assumed it belonged to something and I wasn't allowed in. Makes me wonder how many other community gardens in London I've walked through. Or walked past, rather, and not known.
I often wonder if people are aware that they can just walk in. I think some people are bold and just go, yeah, I'm going in anyway.
Yeah.
Doors open. But I think as long as you've got 2 gates open,
Yeah.
then people will just come in.
Absolutely.
And so one of the things that happens, we run out of places to sit.
Yeah.
So,
we have that problem in our garden, yeah.
And so this is the walnut tree here. And apparently walnut leaves have a toxin so that they don't get eaten and nothing will grow. So this year, this turf is new. So when the leaves start to fall from the walnut, we've got to pick them up real quick before they kill all the grass.
No way,
So
they're
they're
that
poisonous to
toxic.
every species?
Yes,
Like, oh, wow.
nothing grows underneath it.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's not just the shade because grass has grown all over the place. So yeah, weeds have grown all over the place, but not here.
And this little area looks like, so what we're seeing here is a child's desk and like a school desk, like sort of from a primary school with a little chair attached to it.
That was a donut. Funnily enough, that came in the van we were talking about earlier, the recycling van. We kept that, we thought.
And there's some huge withy sculptures over there, or part of a withy sculpture.
That was a donation called the Pavilion. After once a year, it sort of collapsed. So we're going to keep that and we're going to reuse that as an edging to some of the other growing spaces, so that the leaves and the rubble doesn't fall onto the path. So keep it as an edging.
I'm just going to peer over there. I feel like there's water down there. There is! How did I know there was water down there before I could see the water? I was just like, that bit seems...
We just did a fantastic episode about ponds and pond life and how easy it is to make a pond and how much ponds can maximise biodiversity. So that's another episode on the Do London Differently podcast together with Frog Life. But they were making a pond at the Hampton Court Flower Festival, and they were talking about reusing all the materials and all the plants that you can use to keep the water clean. So I really want to put one in my garden, but my garden is very chalky and it's on a hill. But where there's a will, there's a way. So
well, this is, as you can see, a work in progress. It started off as a volunteer project create a pond. The water will run into it. I think it's got a hole in it somewhere. So it's beyond us. We paid a professional team to do the pond deck, the platform here.
Yeah.
We've got these gabion cages we're going to fill with rubble. And the rest of the rubble, we're not quite sure what we're going to do with it. We might kind of grind it down. You can hire these. So if it's smaller, it's easier to manage. Okay. And so pond is on the list of jobs that need doing.
What tree is this? What fruit's that on the tree?
Damson.
Damsons. Oh
And
my Lord.
It's right in a spot that people can't get to, which is very good for the birds.
Yeah.
And the blackbirds will sit in the apple tree, eating the apples right off the tree and ignoring the ones that have fallen on the ground.
I was just going to say,
birds.
seeing
Yes.
the blackbirds around, you don't often see blackbirds in inner London. It's quite
Yes, what
surprised.
isn't it? What is it? Crows, pigeons, and sparrows are kind of taking over all of the urban spaces. They're
Yeah.
like bullying out all the
Sparrows
other
are
robins.
bits.
most ubiquitous.
Do you know what I mean, robins?
I don't know. I haven't seen a sparrow for
Oh,
donkeys.
what? I thought sparrows were like known for being the most ubiquitous
Oh.
across the world. They've got the best kind of
Okay.
They're
globalization.
optimised. They're optimised for urban living.
Well, we've got
Yeah.
dunnocks, which might be a relative. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
yeah,
They're
that's
kind
like
of
a-
small and brown.
Like a hedge
Okay.
sparrow, a house sparrow, type of
Yeah.
sparrow, yeah. And so talk to me about volunteers. So we are trying to encourage more people to volunteer in all of their local green spaces. So are your volunteers here kind of local, or do they travel in from?
We've got 134 people registered as volunteers. Some of them just come once or twice
Yeah.
just to pop in if we've got something specific going on that they want to help with, like removing the algae from the pond is quite popular. And doing
Is
things.
that a popular job?
Yes.
It's almost ASMR, isn't it? It's like quite satisfying to get a load of
Yes.
algae out of a pond.
Putting the waders on, quite a novelty, good for photos.
Beautiful.
That is
So-
great.
and then we clear some of the plants, we take the bricks out because they always end up back in, and just kind of beautify it a bit. We've left all these wild plants here, the thistles and the
Nettles.
nettles, that's it, for the butterflies. And it seems to be quite successful. There's a lot of butterflies. And so burdock, that's another thing that we've got a lot of. Yeah, if you're ever going to get a bird, don't get burdock in your garden. 'Cause
Okay.
It just goes everywhere.
I was like mint. I've been warned off mint.
Oh yeah, mint.
Yeah,
You shouldn't
yeah.
plant it in the ground. It just goes
Rapacious.
crazy.
Yeah, we've got mint in our raised beds. Shall we go to
Oh, go on.
Oh,
the robin?
I think I saw a little wren down there actually. It's been
Yeah,
very
we've got-
quiet for a wren. You normally hear them.
If you'd have said what bird was that, I was going to go nuthatch. That's my go-to bird. I've got no idea what they look like. I'm like, no, I think that's a nuthatch.
Nuthatches are like little darts. They kind of dart up and down trees. They're lovely. I'm a bit of a bird nerd, so you got me on a good subject.
Oh, I was told by my friend comedian Alistair Wallace, who's a huge birder, told recently the way to differentiate between a swallow and a swift.
Uh-huh.
And a swallow has got a long tail and a
Yep.
swift is the shape of a boomerang.
Yep, exactly.
Yes,
That's
nailed it.
Yeah,
Oh,
nailed it. Yeah, because you always see them all over any kind of body of water. You can never quite tell which one's which, because there's martins in there as well, house martins.
Ah,
Never
yes.
quite sure. I've been doing some open water swimming recently, and they all just kind of cascade in front of your face, and it's wonderful. But yeah, so we've come to.
this end of the garden is the sunniest
Okay.
because it doesn't have quite so many buildings.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
of course. That's
so-
going to make a huge difference.
Yes, and also we had the walnut cut back, and we had the cherry over there cut back. They were taking over, and that allows more light in to the allotment space, what we call the allotment. And this is where our volunteers grow.
Bit of kale.
Ooh.
Yes.
Lovely.
And what doesn't get eaten by wildlife.
It's
as
eaten
in-
by hipsters.
Yes, it does. Yeah, so people come in, and people have donated plants as well. These sunflowers are all
Sunflowers and
donated.
cabbage and...
The beans were donated. This one is called a chow chow.
Okay.
This is the strange
Chow chow, like the dog chow chow.
squash that I mentioned earlier.
Oh,
It's I don't know if it'll. Anyway, it might not have any this year, but they're huge, sort of green, kind of knobbly looking things, and they're quite solid and prolific.
Is that an artichoke?
Yeah, that's an artichoke.
Yes. Look at that little guy.
Yeah, very
Wow.
impressive. We grew that to be impressive rather than to eat. But also next year, I think it'll be more impressive, and hopefully that one will come back.
Oh, there's some very pink apples there.
Yeah, there's some healthy ones
What
there.
type of apples are these? Are they Pink Lady maybe or Brave Bird?
Well, so one about I have no idea, But one of our visitors said to me, "Oh, I see you've got some summer apples." And I said, "Oh, have we?" Yeah.
Sounds like a euphemism.
Yeah. Summer apples and autumn apples.
Ah, is that right?
All apples were autumn apples.
I
to be
did,
honest.
but apparently, yeah, there you go. You learn something new every day. So our volunteers come at the moment, obviously, mostly to water.
Yeah.
It is dry as a bone.
Yeah, we have that with our gardens. I'm a bit worried if there is a hosepipe ban. I mean, that's going to impact everything.
That will, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. These are dry as a bone. I'm definitely going to have to get the hose on.
Are these tomatoes?
shortly.
No.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, these are tomatoes. And that tree there is a strawberry tree, whatever its
Strawberry
actual name.
tree?
Yeah, that has these. You can see where at the end
Little
there,
bits.
those little red bits are forming. They will have kind of like baubles, and then when you open them up, it's fleshy and you can eat it, and it tastes like strawberry.
I'm just realising that we've been in here for sort of 10 minutes and I'm already just feeling better about life.
Oh, that's
Like
so true.
the sort of, it has a sort of hard to measure, hard to quantify. Generally, if you're in a garden surrounded by plants, you just feel better. And I don't know what that is, whether it's the smell. I'm sure it's partly the smell and partly the oxygen, maybe.
It's the
I don't know
colour
what it is. I
green.
just generally like, oh, I think everything's going to be all right.
I'm going to stand in the shade.
Mm.
Apparently, it's something to do with, somebody was telling me, it has something to do with, in addition to everything else, something in our DNA, in the lizard part of our DNA, right back, because we all come from green spaces, and it all registers with us, like really fond memories of childhood. It goes way back to that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something in like Sapiens about the colour green, and this is kind of one
Oh,
of
we
the...
can recognise more shades of green than any other colour.
Or it just makes us feel mentally better, really. I mean, what are you pointing at? Oh, that's a female blackbird. Yeah, there we go. Just call me Chris Packham.
Nuthatch.
Yes. We can paint it and it'll look like a nuthatch if you want, but I don't know if it'll stay still enough. But
We've got
but yeah.
thrushes, apparently. I can't tell the difference between a thrush and a female blackbird.
So the thrushes are speckled, but you'll hear them. The song thrush is wonderful. They're really, but both blackbirds and song thrushes are really noisy. But I think the song thrushes are more distinctive, maybe. You've got to get the Merlin app, which is very good, bird nerds.
Oh,
I feel
yeah,
like
I've
that's
heard
not
of
the
this.
first time
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
talked about the Merlin app
It's
on this
basically
podcast.
Shazam for birds.
It is,
you just
yeah,
hold
yeah.
it up and it goes, it's a nuthatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you play it back to the bird and they get really confused and territorial, so they come in and they're like, who's this?
Yes.
So I love it.
And they had a
Use
go.
the Merlin app with care to
Yes,
avoid
exactly.
starting bird war.
Yeah, exactly. Do you feel like you have enough volunteers, or do you want more? Sorry.
Yeah, oh, yes.
Are you oversubscribed for volunteers? Because that's a really good place to be.
In the summer, we have more than in the winter, surprisingly. Not. Look, George Michael is the same age as me. Yeah.
Yeah. George Michael's
Oh,
French
that's a little-
lovelies.
That's a little birthday card for George Michael. Oh, beautiful.
Is this a fig tree?
Yes.
I've got a fig tree and it keeps dying. I keep overwatering it, which is the problem. I'm not very good with plants.
That was, you took some real accountability midway through that sentence. It keeps dying, actually, it's my fault.
I got the one of the plant apps on it, and it said you've overwatered this. You've got to put baking soda and water on it to like dry it out, and then it started kind of recovering. But because I thought it was hot, I was like, put more water on it.
Yeah,
But,
I would have thought that.
yeah. Well, maybe it's the drainage. I don't know.
I've seen a blackberry. I've seen an edible ripe blackberry.
Well, the
Oh my goodness.
blackberries are popular.
Wait, we haven't got insurance. Don't fall
Oh,
into
I can see. I can see some black
Would
ones.
anyone like a blackberry?
Oh, yes, please. Be lovely.
We've left it. Normally, we see
Is
brambles
it
and we cut
incredibly
them back.
early for blackberries?
I
Isn't
feel
it?
like it is. It's not August yet, is it?
Have a blackberry.
Oh, I'm good, thank you.
We'll
I'm
have
good.
one. I don't know if that one's edible. I'm not quite sure. Is it? Are you going to go for it anyway?
That's lovely.
That is really great. And that's just growing over the rubble. That's really nice. It's kind of quite
Yeah.
rubble meets nature.
Oh, they like a bit of
Delicious
rubble.
rubble.
Yeah. So getting back to the volunteers, we have people who like to do different things in the garden, and after you've been here a while, you get to know what things need doing, and people just get on with it. So we've got somebody who, Bev Scissorhands, I bet you can guess. Yeah. So she cuts things back, which is great because then you get a second flourish if they cut off the dead bits. And then we get people who just like to water. I can really recommend watering as a therapeutic thing. It's so peaceful. And you just stand there and your head just goes through, well, things pop into your head that you think, oh, and like songs pop into your head that you didn't know you
George Michael
remembered.
songs.
Well, exactly. And that's lovely to do. And then we do like the general sweeping. And then we've got big tasks which involve us trying to get that pond working. So we might do bricklaying. We've got some up the top there where we were, the mound with the play bark. The edging has come out, so we'll be digging that back in with some volunteers tomorrow, and it's going to be hot. Yeah. So maintaining, because when you get a lot of people, it takes a lot of maintenance. So we keep a lid on it because we had roses and all sorts growing up, and ivy. You can see the remains of bits hanging from that tree. They just grew right up into the tree and took over the tree. And so we had to cut that back. We had to do it several times because the ivy was like as big as your thigh. Yeah. It was so thick, and that was a job and a half.
It's funny because we did a fruity walk in Marylebone. One of our rangers is an expert in fruit trees, and we were looking at ivy that was overtaking a tree. We were like, oh, is it not like taking over? And she said, oh no, it's actually quite symbiotic. But obviously you're in a situation where it's too much ivy and it's too overgrown. So there is some maintenance needed with.
Yes, well, particularly because if the ivy takes over the trunk and the trunk is rotten, you wouldn't notice.
Right.
So the tree could fall down and you wouldn't even know it was sick. So the idea is keep it clear of anything. So, if it's got some sort of indentation or some sort of mould, then you know that something's wrong.
And with the volunteers, it sounds like you've got some really good experts there, but we try and encourage anyone to volunteer with minimal expertise. What do you kind of help train people, or is it kind of like a watch and learn? Like, how can you encourage people with perhaps no green skills or who've never had a garden before to come and learn some skills and feel like they can contribute something?
Very few of our volunteers have ever had access to a garden. One or two maybe, like I say, in their youth or another country that they came from. And this garden is well established, so this is just more maintenance. It's identifying where we've got yet another wild bush, like a burdock, and digging it out. So they get to know what a lot of wildflowers look like. Yeah. A lot of stuff here is self-seeded. And then, people can get on with it, and people learn the names of the common things that keep repeating. So I'm not vaguely qualified. In fact, my job is admin more than anything. I organise the activities and promote and run them and that sort of thing. But with my colleague, Nikki, she's got an MVQ in MVQ something or other, amenity horticulture. So she knows what she's talking about and she knows the Latin names of things and I don't. So she can.
This sounds like the comedy circuit.
Yeah.
A bunch of unqualified individuals thriving.
Yes. Exactly. Well, yeah. To be honest, if you get it wrong,
it grows back.
You can correct it. Yeah. Some of the plants we've dug out and moved. We've got loads of pots of things.
Olives, huh?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
We don't really want to put the olive in the ground. So, if things don't work, then they'll bless their hearts if we kill anything. We haven't.
That you know of.
No, yeah. Well, this dry weather will do it.
Yeah.
Something will grow back. Something will grow in its place. And like in the winter when everything has died off and there's just bare ground, it's amazing to see it all come back in the spring that you didn't even realise that it was still alive. We're talking, apart from the things that were intentionally planted.
Yeah.
A lot of it is self-seeded.
Yeah.
And this is one of the last gardens in the area, right? So I think I read on the website there used to be a lot, and this is you're kind of holding on to this because it's obviously insanely important, but you've got some kind of risks of.
Well, we've got Camden Council owns this land. We have a lease, a 20-year lease, 10 years remaining. All the other meanwhile gardens from the 80s were just there minding the space before something else was built there. So I think there were 7 meanwhile gardens, some bigger than others, and this is the only one still in the West End.
Oh, that's such a shame. Yeah. It's so hard. You can see how rampant capitalism doesn't perceive any value in this. There's, you could build something on this and sell it for millions. But what would be the point when you've got this instead? That's such a shame to think there were more and then they've gone.
Well, especially when Sadiq Khan has pledged to make what you said earlier, to promote the idea of a green capital.
Yeah.
And then, we're hoping to persuade him to appeal. We're going to appeal that building there, doubling the height. we think that that building could be a going concern, exactly the same footprint it's in now without going up.
Yeah.
So this end of the garden will be the only one that gets the light, unless it's directly above.
Yeah.
So we think that's just ridiculous in an area where there's just no lungs like this.
Yeah.
There's Soho Gardens, Soho Square. That's quite a lawn, really, for people to congregate and have picnics and gather. This is less of a lawn, obviously less of a lawn, and more of a little bit of wilderness.
With less tech employees, because I used to spend when I was in the tech world, I'd spend a lot of my lunch breaks at Soho Square, so get this done.
Sitting on your monocultural lawn
Exactly.
with your tech startup.
Exactly, with my MacBook.
But boy, does that part get packed in.
It does, exactly,
Whoa,
yeah.
Just shows you.
I think I'd rather sit here. But it's interesting because, as you were saying that, I was thinking about how hotel chains often talk about, like, we do carbon offsetting and we plant trees in far away lands, but you could just plant trees and cultivate areas directly here.
Yeah.
And also, you can do like corporate volunteering days with things like the conservation volunteers. And
tomorrow
you've got
corporate volunteer day tomorrow. In this heat, they're going to be doing that edging, doing some other paths, and some indoor jobs if it gets too hot. But they're very good. But they pay us to do corporate volunteering, and so the money is reinvested in the garden. So we might buy new tools, or we can get expertise. Sometimes, like I say, the pond job is way beyond us. So we need a few thousand in order to get the experts in to finish that. That will be an amazing space. I mean, it looks amazing now, but in the winter, when all these die back, it exposes the bags of rubble that we've got piled up.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Everything's a bit greyer in winter, isn't it?
Yes, so corporates, a bit of a godsend, and also they have other skills that they can lend as well. But a local one helped us with a fire safety risk assessment.
Fantastic.
So, that's all good stuff. Saves me having to Google it.
So what would be your wish to keep this garden going? Obviously not developing higher, but what else would keep this garden thriving? What more can people in the local area do? Or if people are listening to this podcast and want to come and visit and come and contribute their time, what would be your wish? Where would you like to see this garden in 10 years' time?
Well, this space, we would like to have this, we've got our ideas about little dinky designs, something a little bit wild and a little bit cultivated and manicured. So this is going to be a Japanese theme bit here.
Oh, nice. I was thinking a tiny hedge maze.
Well, That's very tiny.
Wandering around there.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to have some azaleas, some aces, some stones, and a bit of turf around. So that'll be fabulous and very zen. You'll sit and look at it and harvesting the veg. The pond, children will be pond dipping. Lovely. And their mums and dads will be observing them from the safety of the shade over there. We'll have school visits, and they'll learn about children when they're young. Kind of a bit afraid when they come into the garden. They're not quite sure about things flying towards them. Are they dangerous? And they freak out. So hopefully, if they come for regular visits, they'll get to know what's what. They'll get to know nettles. So we try to keep the nettles back, but they're so good in the garden. So every now and then people get nettled.
I'm laughing because you can tell we're related because we're absolute twitchers. My sister's just come into the garden and has been like, look over there, it's a bird.
Baby robin, baby blackbird, wren. Is that a golden?
That's a nuthatch, mate.
Every bird is a nuthatch.
We had a woodpecker visit.
Which type of woodpecker? Greater.
The one with the red on it.
Yeah.
Red head.
Great spotted, not lesser spotted.
Baby one, oh my God.
Oh, right. Oh, it's being very vocal.
Daughters of a RSPB enthusiast.
And
is that the baby robin?
Robin. There's a baby robin.
So is it because it's a bit grayer? You can kind of tell.
It's like speckled still.
It's making very
I
cute
think that
noises.
one on the
Yeah,
branch
it's
there.
lovely.
So you've got the mum or dad, and then the baby robin, the branch there. It's much lighter because it doesn't have the red.
Oh, yeah.
Yet. And then above there, female blackbird, but I think could be this year. And then I think there's even a gold crab. What is that, Emily? You're better at this than me. Do you have your binoculars?
No, I don't. I didn't bring them to central London, surprisingly. I normally have them. They're quite compact.
But all in just one tree. It's incredible. I mean,
Oh yeah, that is a goldfinch.
You're not mic'd, so Emily should relay all of that information.
Just in one small tree. That's incredible.
And they really like this area because the bigger birds of prey can't get them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
You do
gotcha.
get like peregrine falcons and stuff on the high buildings, don't you? In there?
There's a sparrowhawk that hangs around that I've actually seen with my own eye diving right in front of me to pick up a mouse.
Oh, wow.
Bink, and off it went. And and that was on the roof of that building over there that we were talking about.
It definitely doesn't need to be any higher.
It does not need to be any bigger.
Oh, there's another baby here. That's another baby.
So we've got a tree full of baby birds there, a baby robin, a baby crow,
Baby blackbird.
a baby blackbird.
Potentially. And then a...
Goldfinch.
Oh, and a hedge sparrow.
Hedge sparrow.
Goldfinch.
Is that also a dunnock? A hedge sparrow is a dunnock.
yeah.
Yes, that's what you're saying. Yeah.
Ah, that's the conversation we were having earlier on. He says there's no sparrows, we've got loads of dunnocks.
Hedge sparrow, yeah.
Well, I think this garden is a really good representation of the imperfections of climate because there's so much wonderful things that have come together. It doesn't have to be perfectly cultivated. It can all grow. We need volunteers, we need people to keep it thriving, to water it, to prune it so that more of it can grow. And that's kind of
Shredded materials.
And that's kind of the climate and climate action in general is that it's all imperfect, like we were talking about. So hopefully I've brought those themes together per the memo, a very long memo.
Very well done, very neatly knitted together.
Thank you. I've been podcasting for 3 months now, and yeah, this is me. But yeah, I mean, it's just so lovely. It is. It's lovely. So, well, I will definitely be visiting next time I come into London, and I'll be telling everyone to come and visit. I mean, when you think how many people work in this area and live and are staying here, maybe there needs to be more signposting. I don't know. Maybe on those kind of some of the kind of main signposts, you can have Phoenix Garden half a mile this way.
Yes, we might have a gorilla signpost.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That is a good idea.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing. When
Chalk spray.
Chalk spray.
Ah.
You get some templates and then you can chalk spray. It's brilliant. I've just been doing our acorn routes, our hedgehog routes, to draw attention for hedgehogs. So at busy cycle points. Because
It does sound a lot like you're trying to write an arrow on the floor to tell hedgehogs where to go.
Yeah.
Please tell me that's what you're doing.
So funny thing is, one of my best friends said, "Oh yeah, I saw those in my neighbourhood." But I mean, it was a really busy cycle path. Like hedgehogs shouldn't be crossing there. And I was like, "You're thinking about this the wrong way around."
Yeah. Nature first.
The hedgehogs might be passing, so maybe take it easy, especially on the e-bikes and yeah.
So for the podcast, my sister lives in Utrecht in the Netherlands, and no, you should come on in. It's great. We're the first sisters in National Park City. So yeah, we have 2 national park cities in Rotterdam and Breda. So and Joe's pushing for Utrecht to be the next one in the Netherlands. Hopefully, already doing lots of lovely things.
Amazing. So if you get more people to be aware of the park and get more people in it, then that might help your case with trying to get the building permits rescinded.
Yeah, but people who've got really good ideas they want to share, or not so good ideas, you know, we like a bit of sharing.
Yeah.
And people have connections, and you know, it's like somebody who we were talking about our Japanese garden. Oh yeah, they've got a pagoda, a big stone pagoda they want to donate.
Stone pagoda.
It's going to be heavy.
Yeah.
But
I've only seen the wood ones. Well, I can't really picture a stone one.
well, exactly. It's in France at the moment.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So, yeah, you know, it makes it, and people come back and they recognise that little. The woman who donated our ornamental pear at the front, she's a local resident, and I only found out yesterday that she donated that as a cutting like this big, and now it's well, I don't know how high that. It's as high as that building, that 4-storey building.
4-storey.
Yeah. So yeah, and so she comes, and so, in here somewhere is the ashes of somebody's cat.
Oh, lovely.
So they pop in and
That
visit.
feels quasi-legal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, how can people find out more? Are you on Instagram? You've got the website phoenixgarden.org, was it?
The Phoenix
The
Garden.
Phoenix Garden.
Because I think there's another Phoenix Garden in Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah, so we're on Instagram, Facebook, although that's, anyway. And we have a website. Yeah, so people can have a look, sign up for our newsletter. I send out that once a month, what we're doing, things that you can come along to. And, you know, and we're happy to, you know, if people say, oh, I've got certain skills, I can volunteer to do something or other, then we can start another group, and we can, you know, we know somebody who is going to teach drama, so we're going to have a 6-week drama. We're going to read the script of a Victoria Wood sketch.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, and then, if they're up for it, perform it.
Lovely. Well, that deck by the pond is a perfect natural stage.
So, yeah, so this is what volunteers bring. OK, we're talking about the environment, but they bring all sorts of other things as well.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah, all you need is a place for them to meet.
Definitely.
And if people want to find out more about me, they can find me in the Phoenix Garden, working from home, sitting on the look-up bench.
Okay.
Doing a bit of pruning.
Doing a bit of pruning here and there. This is so great. There have been so many times in the last... I weep to think of the number of times in the last 25 years where I've been around this exact area and needed somewhere to just chill out and get away from everything. And this was under my nose the whole time.
Yes. Well, somebody said to us, oh, you need some signs on this side because it does look private from this side because the gate is, of course, there's only one gate in and out on St Giles Passage. So that's another task for us to get the volunteers to help with. Some signage with an arrow, a couple of arrows.
But you're open every day?
7 days, yep, until dark.
Until dark?
Yeah, when the sun goes down, well, sometimes even later. I open in the morning and somebody else closes it when it gets dark.
It's fantastic. Cool, well, thank you so much. And Stu, you're at Edinburgh this year?
I am, yes. I'm going to be at the Edinburgh Festival with my climate comedy show. It's my second hour of climate comedy. It's on at 11:05 in the morning, so I'm just there for a week between the 11th and the 17th. And because it's on so early and it's a climate comedy show, I'm calling it An Inconvenient Time.
Excellent. Like it. Cool, all right. Thank you very much.
Come and enjoy, because life's too short, really and truly.
And London, wow. What an amazing city.
So, greener,
Healthier.
And wilder.